Hello guys and welcome to my first Air Tycoon Online 3 episode in almost a week. This is probably episode 37 if I've counted correctly. And yeah, I haven't recorded in a long time because I've been on vacation, but that hasn't stopped me from still playing the game a lot. And as you guys can see, my company value from my company value graph here, I have managed to keep climbing quite rapidly. Additionally, you'll probably be able to see that I have very, very high profit now. I'm over 2 billion on upticks and over 1 billion on downticks, for the most part. As you guys can see here, in the summer months, I have very, very high profits now. My quarterly profits are, $4 to $6 billion, and my yearly profits have just this year passed 20 million. So that's a 20 billion net value gain in just a single day, which is pretty fast. This company has gotten pretty big since the last time I've recorded, and it may seem interesting because I've made about, say, 500-ish new routes since the last episode, but the profit growth has been much bigger than 50% because I've made 50% more routes, right? But my profit has grown from under $1 billion to over $2 billion, which is more than double. And a lot of that comes from simply replacing aircraft. Anybody observant might notice I only have 74 747-100s and only 111 707s, and this is down from about 150 747s and 150 and about 200 707s. Basically, I've just been replacing these aircraft with larger airplanes. For example, I've been buying 747-300 and -400s, which were replacing my 747 SPs, and then I was using those SPs to replace 707s. Basically, I've been stepping up routes to use airplanes that I think are appropriate in size. For example, all these 747-300s here, most of these are making, as you guys can see, pretty good profit for stopovers. As you guys can see, each half of the stopover will be making, about 4 to 5K across the board. So I've upgraded a lot of my routes which can support these 747s, and I've put 747s on them, and that kind of leads to the 747 SPs, if I can find those. As you guys can see, these routes are additionally, for the most part, able to support these large-ish 400-seat aircraft of the 747 SP. As you guys can see, just in general, the routes are doing okay. Some of them are, having a little bit of troubles on the downticks, but still very profitable, so that's fine. And basically, I've just been, steadily replacing my existing 707s, mostly with either SPs or A310s for direct routes. The reason I choose A310s for direct routes is they're actually like 30 million cheaper than 767s, but hold only 10 less people. And the reduce in expenses because of the fact the plane has a cheaper purchase price, which tends to affect the maintenance cost and personnel cost as well. It actually makes more or equal profit to the 767-200 whilst being 30 million cheaper. So my plane of choice for replacing the direct routes is definitely favoring the A310, even though I do have a lot of 767-200s just for their extended range. For example, Chicago to Bristol is not one of them. I think I probably accidentally took that, but like Singapore to Bilbao, for example, 11,000 kilometers. I couldn't take that with an A310, so of course I had to use a 767-200. Anyways, everything, as you guys can see, is going very, very well, and I just kind of wanted to make a not too long and kind of short episode to update you guys on that. And one of those things is, as you guys can see, I have tons and tons of hubs now. Chicago, Los Angeles, in Europe, Barcelona, Rome, Frankfurt, Amsterdam, London, Paris, basically every major city, Singapore, Tokyo, and Seoul. I'm gonna later move on to Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, but not yet because those cities aren't quite big enough for Asia, and Asia's kind of unique because it's nearly impossible to make stopover routes to Asia. So you have to be able to take direct routes. Like for example, these are great direct routes, but there's not so many that I really want to make a hub yet. I find it's more efficient to completely cap out one city before moving on to the next in Air Tycoon Online. The other thing I've started to do is I've started to open competition routes to compete with AirKK, which is this server's leading player. He's not actually very good in the sense that a lot of his routes have mediocre at best service levels and mediocre at best satisfaction, which means I can quite easily compete with routes like this. I can just put my own 747-400 on this route, and his will basically do worse than mine, and he'll either have to replace that plane or lower his prices to compete with me, and that is honestly something I don't mind doing, because the fact that even though my company is smaller than his in net value, it's definitely has a much I'm climbing faster. I'm producing more money per turn basically. So yeah, I have no real problem competing. Like, it may seem odd that, I'm the smaller company. As you guys can see, I'm about 100 billion smaller than him. Yeah, I'm still able to be the one pressuring him in the sense that I can open competition routes against him, and I feel like it's going to hurt him more than it hurts me. Is pretty nice. Of course, all of that is I'm actually like unknowing whether that's completely true yet, because for example, my Chicago name value is significantly lower than his, but I don't think that's going to be a big problem, because I think I'm going to quite quickly start to catch up. Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. So anyways, it's also really nice because the prices are already set, because the game automatically price matches when you're opening competition routes. So it's really nice that when I open these 747 routes, that I don't even have to click that much, because all the prices are already matched for me. Also, I've noticed he has a lot of really good routes which he could run direct, like Chicago to Zurich, but he chooses to use stopovers. So I can just stop over on top of that, and it'll be full anyway, because the route is just good, which is convenient, I guess. Like, as you guys can see, a lot of the routes, like freaking Chicago to Santiago, for example, that's just a stopover half. You didn't even bother to put a full plane on that, which is, like a kind of very low level of competition in this world. It shows that, of course, but it also means I can just overlap it freely without feeling bad at all. Like routes like Chicago to Sao Paulo, I could just screw with them and overlap that too if I wanted. Let me take a look at this actually. Like, I'm sure some of these are just like, wow, he really doesn't like direct routes. That's okay. Anyways, I can freely compete with Chicago now because I have name value there. I'm gonna try and keep quite quickly raise the name value to full, as you guys can see my immensely huge investment expenses. But this is what I tend to keep as what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 bars on my main hubs, and then on the cities I'm trying to level up, I just max it out. Maybe or maybe not, it's the most efficient way to do it. But I have more than enough profit to catch up with him at this point. So I think the high name value investments have been worth it. Yeah, I feel like this game rewards that quite heavily, actually. Unlike previous Air Tycoons, where I don't think it was ever necessary to really invest highly into name value and service expense and all that kind of stuff. I didn't feel any benefit from it. Like, I could climb to Air Tycoon Online to first place like nearly instantly by just abusing stopovers, and the fact that stopovers could take nearly any form basically. Do I not have 767s? Oh, I do. Yeah, basically by abusing the fact that stopovers could take nearly any form that, was above 10,000K or something like that, I was able to climb in Air Tycoon Online 2 no matter what, by just using the small European cities as stopover points between large American and and Asian cities, basically. It was really, really broken. And while I still wish it still existed, I feel like the game is probably better without um, that level of broken stopovers, because it kind of removed all like necessary competition from the game, in the sense that even if somebody wanted to, for example, say, overlap half my routes with competition routes, I didn't feel like it was a significant disadvantage to just close all those routes and open new ones, until the person got fed up with, trying to compete with you, or until you were able to compete back with him, just by, lowering prices on your existing routes. Because I don't feel like the way in which passengers are divided among competition routes is the same as it was in Air Tycoon Online 2. I can't really explain it very well how I feel it's changed, but basically the impression I get is that, unlike in Air Tycoon Online 2, where it generates a set amount of passengers based on the price and then divides them based on satisfaction, I feel like if your satisfaction is higher in this game, more passengers simply will be generated. Um, that's the way I feel. So I feel like the satisfaction makes a big difference. Of course, I have literally no actual hard evidence of any of this being the case. It's just the impression I get from playing the game quite a bit and talking to my friend, who's, he's in a world where any route he makes, like a bunch of Chinese people will come and overlap that route with 3 or 4 747s. So he's forced basically to compete on every single route he makes, either through code sharing or some other method to try and stay afloat, basically. And basically, thanks to the new systems in Air Tycoon Online 3, I feel like you're forced to compete. And even in a world with very few active players like the one I'm currently in, the competition is still fun, which is not something I could have said about previous Air Tycoons, I guess. So yeah, it doesn't feel like competing basically is a straight bad thing. Like, you need a route with high enough business and tour to just fill 2 aircraft, basically. Like, it no longer feels like that anymore. In addition, the rebalancing of cities to, I don't know how to say, but like kind of be focused around big cities, where big cities are significantly larger than other cities, also help that. I think because now, freaking London or Paris are so much bigger than say medium-sized cities, like the cities that were previously for some reason quite big in Air Tycoon Online 2, Phoenix, Denver, Istanbul, Moscow, whatever. They're so much bigger than those that cities actually generate a huge amount of demand, which is just nice. I'm very happy about those changes. I do still wish, though, you could open a hub in any city, and B, the base branch expense wasn't so high. I wish the game incentivized hubs in other ways. For example, like making maintenance depots not costing credits, but instead making the maintenance depots cost cash and cash per turn, which gets more efficient the more routes you have from a city. For example, if you had 100 routes to London, you would need 3 maintenance depots, for example, and each maintenance depot cost X amount. So if you had only 20 routes, you'd still need 1 maintenance depot, but you'd be paying more per plane. You see what I mean? I feel like that would be a good thing. Another thing I kind of wished is there was actually incentivized to do, kind of real life kind of things where, for example, single fleet airlines. Look at my fleet. It's a mess. There's 1 DC-1030. There's 20 MD-11s. Like, the MD-11 is literally 20 seats bigger than a 747 SP. Like, I should not be incentivized to do this, because there should be maintenance benefits to having only 1 airplane. There should be personnel cost reductions if I run less different individual types of airplanes and more of each. I feel like this cap should be limited to around 200, and these efficiency debuffs for having mixed fleets and stuff should be eliminated for players who haven't hit level 5 yet, in order to make the early game still balanced. But anyways, I kind of feel like there are things they could do to incentivize hubs besides straight up preventing people from opening random point-to-point routes. Another thing they could do to incentivize hubs is allow for transfers. But what? Panama to London? Ooh, sign me up. But yeah, I feel like they could also incentivize hubs through. Wow, people are abandoning the server, I guess. So a lot of great routes like this are showing up. But I feel like they should also incentivize hubs through a transfer system where passengers can understand how to use flight transfers to get to their destinations and stuff like that. But at that point, you'd have to completely rework the game. Like, that's probably too big of a jump from Air Tycoon Online. It would have to probably be a rebranded game at that point. But anyways, yeah, I just wish they didn't force you to do hubs, but incentivized hubs through other means. Like, what else could they do, for example? For example, in real life, your crew needs training, right? So you need crew to be trained on maintenance, you need crew to be trained on for like flight attendants, you need pilot training and all that kind of stuff. So it should be cheaper to operate, large bases where all your crew operate out of, like are trained for, X aircraft out of a hub. And then I don't know, I'm just ranting at this point. But anyways, what do I need to do? Let me take a look at my airplanes. 747s, MD-11s, 737-400. So let's replace some of these airplanes. All right. It does look like, I did plan good enough and buy some 737s, which look exactly like 747s, so it's actually pretty tough. But let's get some 737s. Replacing airplanes with airplanes of the appropriate size has been one of my main ways of accelerating my growth in this world. Like, I've had the pleasure of having a world with very low competition, whilst still having a acceptable World Traveler Index of 1,100 or 3,100. It's not great World Traveler Index, but it's more than enough to play a fun world. Where there's a bunch of viable routes everywhere, basically, and you can use larger airplanes. I have had many worlds where the World Traveler Index at this point is still, I don't know, something pretty sad, like 1,000, like it's like a 2,750 or something like that, and it's just so unfun to play in a world like that. But thank God in this world, that is not the case. So yeah, anyways, basically what I'm going to do now is, because I'm basically out of routes, I've been ordering all these 747-400s. It's really just to replace these. I mean, like, there's some good routes in here. Like, this route doesn't appear to be great, right? Well, first of all, this promotion was applied just this turn. Always use your promotions when you get them, and with the incredibly high depreciation cost, it's kind of nerfing myself and the ruined satisfaction of having an old aircraft. So once I, place new 747-400s on a lot of these routes, the profit will spike up. I can show you guys the graphs of some of my other aircraft. Let me show you actually. Where can I find it? Should probably be here, 747-400. Let's go to some of the newer ones with 1 or 2 turns off of them. Yeah, so Berlin to that's a new route. These are all new routes. Hold up. That doesn't look new. Oh, no, that's new too. What's not new? Come on. Yeah, so as you guys can see, once it replaced 747-100, the profits spiked a very large amount, basically. Once again, this promotion was applied just this turn, and these routes are prime examples of, the profit jump that comes with replacing into new aircraft. Very nice. So this competitor is quite tough. He has a very high satisfaction, but 15 schedules. I'm just here with a freaking 747 stopover, whatever. Like, it's not a big deal that I'm not beating that guy. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Maybe if you haven't enjoyed it, at least you maybe thanks for watching this far, and hopefully you guys learned a little bit about just things in Air Tycoon, which help. I really don't know what I should be titling these episodes, because like it's probably some like replacement strategy or something like that. I don't know. I'm gonna finally, I think I understand enough about Air Tycoon to validate myself to make one of those how to start Air Tycoon, the best possible starts, or best strategy for Air Tycoon videos. I think I'm gonna be making one of those later on today, because I feel like I finally played this game enough. This is my second world of this is my third world of Air Tycoon Online 3, but the first two I didn't play very much. The first one I played for about a week and left, maybe 2 weeks, and the second one I played for about 2 weeks, and then I got some competition, and that honestly helped me understand a lot about investments and their importance, and yeah, hopefully I'll be able to spread that knowledge to you guys and show you guys how I want to keep playing this game. But anyways, hopefully I also haven't clicked any 767s by accident so far. I've been pretty careful, but I don't want to see a 767 flying one of these great routes, because it's kind of a waste. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I'm just gonna go ahead and return all these plays, and I'll see you guys next time.